before the press conferences even start. I mean, we could talk for 45 minutes just about how atrocious the defense is.
Doing? He's just picking the big guys. Jordan Mailata, he's huge. He'll be good later on. Josh Sweat, he's tall as hell and strong. Let's get him. We'll figure him out. It's working.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel. Jeremy, MIA for the next week and a half or so. Some work-related scheduling conflicts, so he won't be here. I do have a guest scheduled to be on the show today. Still trying to get him on the air. So we're going to wing it as best we can, see what happens. This is the kind of a show where your interaction is extremely, extremely necessary. If we're live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, make sure you're on the DSM Facebook or YouTube page so I can see your comments right up here on the screen. That way we can interact and we can make this going solo for the time being a little bit easier. Trending in the AM and all shows on DSM Media are brought to you by Manscaped, the leader in men's grooming products, the GOAT in below-the-waist maintenance. Make sure you check them out, manscaped.com. Use promo code TRENDING, name of the show right above me there, TRENDING at checkout to get you 20% off and free shipping. Again, manscaped.com. Holidays are right around the corner. You don't want to miss it. Also, if you want to continue to support the podcast, check out our t-shirt site. It's in our LinkedIn bio on Facebook and Twitter. You can check out a lot of the great designs we have, show logos. We've got great Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni designs. And we got more designs coming as the days go on. So check out the t-shirt site. It's on TeePublic. It's a great way to support the podcast. So we got lots to talk about today. I'm going to do my best to do it on my own. We'll see how it goes. So again, bring the comments in. And I already put it in the initial comment, Flyers trending down. We're going to talk Flyers. A lot of changes going on with the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm not a huge hockey guy right now, so I'm going to do my best. Hopefully we can get my guest here, Frank, on shortly because he's in touch with the Flyers big time. We're going to talk a little bit about the Sixers, last night's victory over, the Charlotte Hornets. Also, some of the rumors that are going on. We're going to touch on last night's Monday Night Football game. Jeremy was almost 110% spot on with his prediction for the game last night. So we're going to get into that as well. Let me just check my messages here. Still nothing there. All right. So anyway, Philadelphia Flyers, obviously, playing some awful hockey this year, especially lately. Yesterday morning, after the loss Sunday night to Tampa 7-1, announced the firing of their head coach, Vignette, and also Therrien, their assistant coach. AV and Therrien now gone. Chuck Fletcher basically said, and it's kind of like a cheesy cliche way to say it, but his exact words were the Flyers have lost their way. And we've had Jason Voorhees on here multiple times for the What's Up with the Flyers segment, talking, about the Flyers, and that it's not that they've lost their way. They don't have a way to an extent. Literally, I mean, they're 8-11. After they fired their coach yesterday morning, they lost last night 7-5 to Colorado Avalanche as well. So now they're on a 9-game losing streak. It's not good, obviously. They've fallen to 8-11-4. So before that that losing streak, obviously they were playing decent hockey. So were they the decent team that they were playing in the beginning of the season, or are they the bad team that they are now? Where are they? Are they in the middle? That's the thing. But, firing their coach, and obviously then, the interim coach, Yo, I don't even know what his first name is, Yo. I don't even know how to say it. I mean, he's coached before, but he's stepping in this interim point while they start the search for, their, next head coach. So, anyway, yeah. So they lost their, interim coach while they search. And I put out some things on Twitter, asking Flyers fans who they'd like to see as their, next head coach. And we've got lots of different names. We got the Rick Tockett's of the world, the John Tortorelli. There's lots of names out there. I'm not a fan of bringing in the Rick Tocchet. Just, I don't know, something about, bringing in old Flyers and the people that have been around the Flyers organization for a long time really doesn't, do anything for me. It's kind of like bringing back, might as well just go get Bobby, Go get any of the old guys that have played for this team. We had so many former players coaching here. I don't know. Just not my thing. But the thing I want to really touch on is, does a new coaching staff, does a new coach really make a difference. And Jason has brought this up on multiple shows, and I know he brings it up on his Drunk on Ice podcast as well. That let's just run these up. The leading goal scorer on this team is Claude Giroux. He's got 21 points in 23 games. 21 points. He's got 9 goals and 12 assists. That is your leading point and goal scorer right there. Sean Couturier, 5 goals, 9 assists. That's your second highest point total player. So a new coach isn't going to all of a sudden turn this around. I mean, it's a trending topic for several years now on this Flyers team, and actually really big picture for a very long time on this Flyers team is that they don't have a true elite goal scorer, and they haven't for a very long time. I mean, I'll go back to John LeClair is probably the last elite goal scorer this team had. Claude Giroux, he's the captain of the team, and he's supposed to be the leader and best player on this team, and he's just not that anymore. Whether he was or not ever, that's up for discussion. Some people love Claude Giroux, some don't. But just changing the coach, what is it really going to do? So I mean, I don't want to be ultra negative when it comes to the Flyers here, but it's almost at the point where the Flyers just need to completely blow it up to an extent. You might need to trade some of these big names and these big contracts, bring in some youth, try to make some change, or make some kind of a bold move. Again, I don't follow the pulse of the NHL very well. I don't know, the names that are available on the trade market. We're only a quarter of the way through the season right now. There's still the hockey season, we all know, lasts forever. So he might get traded, by the deadline. Drew, if you want to jump on in, I'll send you the link on Twitter. You're more than welcome to jump in on this Flyers conversation if you're available to do that. Look, there's a lot that's going on, and I don't know. It's frustrating and it's a struggle, but the coaching change isn't going to solve every single problem. So that's the problem. That's where I'm at. But it's gotta be better. Sorry, I'm trying to find some people to come on here and help me talk Flyers. Obviously Flyers talk isn't my greatest strength, but really, like I said, so who we want as the head coach. I mean, I don't know if it really matters at this point. You're basically bringing in somebody. If you just want to go with an interim coach even for the rest of the season, that's perfectly fine in my opinion, because that there really isn't much going on. Anybody wants to jump in, anybody watching that wants to jump in and talk Flyers with me, more than welcome. Just send me a message here on the show in the comment section, and I'll send you the link on Twitter and get you in the show. Yeah, like I said, Flyers it is. I'm gonna leave the Flyers topic off to the side for the moment here. We'll see if I get anybody else in. If Frank, I'm not sure where my guest for today is at this moment, but if he comes in, we'll get back to the Flyers. So last night, Sixers game. Sixers played the Hornets in Charlotte. Charlotte is one of those teams, just like the Sixers were for a couple weeks, decimated by health and safety protocols. I mean, they were missing, blah, blah, blah. I'm just so thrown off today. They were missing multiple players, Ball, Terry Rozier, amongst other players. So they're basically running out what we ran out for such a long period of time. And the Sixers still struggled to put this team away. It took overtime to win 127-124. It forced Joel Embiid to play 41 minutes again. Seth Curry, Tobias Harris, 41 minutes again last night. So the question is, what's wrong with the Sixers? I mean, yes, Tyrese Maxey was out with an illness, non-COVID related, non-health and safety protocol related. So Shake Milton was forced to play your starting point guard position. That in and of itself is a problem. But still, even without Tyrese Maxey, the Sixers team should not have struggled against a Kelly Oubre-led Charlotte Hornets team. I know the Charlotte Hornets are a good team. I'm not trying to take anything away. They're 14-12 now. Last night was only their third loss at home. So they're a good team. But you had Kelly Oubre having to put up 24 shots last night, 13 from deep, and he put up 35 points. But when that's your go-to guy because you're missing so many players, that's a problem. So the fact that it took like a Hercules effort from Joel Embiid down the stretch and into overtime, he shot one of his, I don't know if I can ever remember him putting up 20 shots. I mean, he was 15-20 from the floor last night. Obviously, his 12-14 typical great free throw shooting, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, only 3 turnovers. I mean, it's Hercules, but it shouldn't have been necessary. It should have been a very easy game for them to put it away. very simply. So what's the problem? And I think the problem is simple. The lack of the Ben Simmons player right now. I'm not trying to say he's a teammate. I'm not trying to say he's part of the team. But with Ben Simmons off the team and no trade happening, yeah, they still have Gordon Hayward. I see that. But what's Gordon Hayward really? Gordon Hayward shot 5 of 19, I think it was last night. Where are the stats? My box score: 5 of 19, 1 of 8 of deep. It's not like he's the player he was with Boston. He's not even the player he was before he got injured. So Gordon Hayward's not that special of a player, in my opinion. At least not at this point of his career. So again, you have Ben Simmons on this team. Now you don't. You haven't made a trade. You haven't moved Ben Simmons. So that kind of puts you in a position where you're kind of lost. You're out that perimeter defense. You're out that offense. You're out the distributor. You're out all that, and that's fine. And I understand that. Hold on one second. Yep. All right. Anyway, you're out all that. Sorry, I'm trying. Running a show solo is not easy. I'm trying to get some people in here to help out, but not my specialty. But Trending in the AM continues. That's how we do it at DSM Media, the road to 500. Make sure you click subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to do that. Anyway, so you're missing Ben Simmons. You're missing that defense. You're missing that offense. You're missing an all-star, all-pro level performer. You don't make the trade for him yet. So your team's obviously going to be short-handed, and this team is just not good enough. I mean, you're looking at this roster right now. You got guys playing out of position. You got guys playing too many minutes. You've got so many issues right now. Joe Embiid and Tobias Harris still recovering. And Joe Embiid said last night after the game, look, he's still feeling the effects. He's still not 100%. I bet he's not even 85% at this point. But yet he's going out there playing 40, 45 minutes every game just to keep us in these games. Barely beating the Magic the other day, losing in overtime to Minnesota when his first game back. This guy is struggling. Tobias Harris, on top of recovering from COVID protocols, is also dealing with hip injuries and other issues right now. He put up a solid 21 points, 11 rebounds last night. And actually, the side score, box scores, the steal, a couple block shots from Tobias. Tobias Harris is quietly becoming a half decent defensive player, and that's great. But there's still lots of issues there. So that's what brings me to the second point of the Flyers conversation is, do the Flyers need to make a trade? And the Sixers need to make a trade? And do the Sixers need to make a trade right now? And that, to me, is absolutely right now. The Sixers need to make a trade. I don't want to say that they have to rush a trade. I'm not saying that they need to, go out and get anybody for Ben Simmons, but you need to make a move if you don't want this season to, drag on, continue to be mediocre. Right now, they're in the 7th spot in the playoffs and in the conference. That's not what we expect from this team. You got to make a move. You got to get some scoring help. You got to get some perimeter defense help. You got to get a lot. So there's a lot of rumors yesterday were floating around about CJ McCollum. I'll address it. On paper, CJ McCollum, Ben Simmons, straight up obviously doesn't work. But as the core part of a trade, yeah, CJ McCollum for Ben Simmons. Portland would have to throw in maybe Simons or Rocco and some picks. There would have to be more parts to the puzzle to make it an equal fair trade. And is CJ McCollum fair for Ben Simmons? Yes, no. It's a debatable topic. But the problem I want to bring up, and someone brought it up on Twitter, on my Twitter feed yesterday, where does CJ McCollum play? And I got a text message from my buddy Brian. He's like, what do you do with CJ McCollum? He's a 6'3" shooting guard. So what are you going to do? You trade Ben Simmons for CJ McCollum. Are you going to run out a 3-guard lineup? Are you going to run out Maxey, Curry, and CJ as your starting lineup? On paper, on offense, that's fantastic. But on defense, who's going to guard who? You really can't have Curry and CJ out there at the same time, along with Maxey, because you're just going to put yourself defensively even further in a hole. Sure, you move Danny Green to the bench, in that, on the offensive side, but defensively, I don't think the CJ McCollum part of that deal works. Now, everybody's, all up in arms and talking about how CJ McCollum started following every single Sixer on Instagram, even the mascot and all that stuff. So maybe there's some rumors, and Portland's front office is in complete upheaval right now. So that's obviously a problem. But, I I just don't see where the CJ McCollum coming to Philly. I was all for it. I want to say that I was 110% all for CJ McCollum come to Philly. Too old, too much money. I'm not really concerned about that at all. Actually, I'm just stuck on the point. Where does he fit with this roster? If you trade for CJ McCollum, you've got to make other moves as well. Whether it's trading Curry, whether it's trade. I don't even know because you don't really want to trade Curry. Curry's one of our best offensive players right now, and getting rid of Curry to bring in CJ McCollum, it's not that much of a difference. So I just don't know where CJ McCollum fits on this team. And that's where the problem with CJ McCollum is. I was all for CJ McCollum for a while. I thought it was a fair trade, but then that was before Tyrese Maxey started to take off. That's before Tyrese Maxey's improvements happened. Not that CJ McCollum can play the point guard, but you can run a couple guards out there and you can figure it out, and bring up the ball. Now with the way Maxey's playing, I just don't think CJ McCollum is the right fit here. There's a lot of teams in the NBA right now that are struggling, that are below expectations. You got Indiana. They have already been interested in Ben Simmons. You got Toronto. We talked about Toronto last week with OG and, getting him and, Goran Dragic, which some people love, some people hate it, to Philly. You've got, Sacramento also, state of, flux that organization. They're going to have to move either Hield or DeAndre Fox at some point soon. So which way do you go? But a lot of these teams and a lot of the guys that are being willing to be moved, could things you do, but one guy to keep an eye on is Paul George. I mean, I talked about Paul George in the past, like years ago, coming to Philly. I thought he would have been a good third piece with Joel and Ben, but I don't know at his age. And I don't know if the Clippers are really willing to move Paul George. They may be in reset mode now that Kawhi's pretty much missing most of this season anyway. Paul George, you trade Ben Simmons for Paul George. Paul George is obviously a great defensive player, so you get that help there. That's great. He could score. He could shoot. He's not afraid of the moment. Maybe you put him at the 3, I guess, and you move Danny Green to the bench. Ben Simmons for Paul George. I don't think that's straight up. You're going to have to put more pieces into the puzzle. I think the Clippers would want a lot more than just Ben Simmons. So I would have to look into that more, what it would take to get Paul George here. But that's that. I just want people to think about the CJ McCollum deal on the court, not on paper, just CJ McCollum for Ben Simmons, what CJ McCollum would do for this team. He would obviously provide some great scoring options and punch for this team, which we need. We need somebody else that can score, that can create a basket. But just what are they going to do with him? And I just don't know. So I'm a little concerned there that if that deal gets made, that it's not the right deal. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not really sure. But yeah, something has to happen for the Sixers team because you cannot continue to roll out Joel Embiid 41 minutes to barely beat a Hornets team. This team had such high expectations, the Sixers team this year, even with the Ben Simmons drama all around it. So my question comes into it, is the Sixers team just not that good? Have we overvalued what this team is and what the expectations are on this team? And that's another conversation that needs to be had. Obviously, Joel Embiid is one of the best players in the NBA. Tobias Harris is a max player. And yes, I'm a Tobias Harris fan. I know Scotty, my boy Scotty, is a Tobias Harris fan. But is Tobias Harris, as good as we've made him out to be? Maybe not, but he's not as bad as other people make him out to be. I want to say that. Danny Green, still a little long in the tooth. He's a great leader, great defensive presence on this team. But, he shouldn't be starting. Curry should not be playing 41 minutes a game. I mean, you see it, another 0 for last night from deep because, he shouldn't be playing 41 minutes a game. Shake Milton is a nice bench piece. Tyrese Maxey, a lot of pressure on a young. I said this in the beginning of the year. If Tyrese Maxey had to start right from the get-go, you're putting a lot of pressure on a young. He was 20 at the start of the year. He's 21 now. A lot of pressure on a young kid to be the point guard on a championship caliber team, and that's just not the case. So he's not, that, you got Furkan in the rotation regularly. Matisse still, inconsistent offensively. Andre Drummond, a better backup than we've had in the past, but you've seen some moments where he's just showing his age. George Niang, I know everybody loves him, but again, he was playing 30-some minutes a game there while everybody was out. Back to his 15, 17 minutes off the bench. That's good. But can he be upgraded? Absolutely. So this team might just not be as good as we thought they were. And I think that's the issue right there. The team needs to be better. So while trading Ben Simmons for CJ McCollum gets rid of the Ben problem, gets you a better score, doesn't make the team better, I don't know. If you trade Ben Simmons for CJ McCollum, there better be more pieces to the puzzle, and there better be more trades on the horizon. Now, who you trade on this team, I don't know. I'm not saying trade anybody. I don't know what happens there, but I just don't think that one move makes the difference that's needed to happen there. So we'll see how that goes. Still nobody. So Flyers talk is off for the rest of the day, unfortunately. I got Jason Voorhees tomorrow. We'll go into more detail about the Flyers tomorrow with Jason. Not sure what happened to today. But anyway, you're here watching Trending the AM here on DSM Media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Road to 500. Make sure you hit subscribe on YouTube. Unfortunately, since I'm going solo today, I only got one other topic on the agenda today. One other real topic. Do want to say, to touch on football real quick on the Eagles, yesterday Nick Sirianni did mention in his press conference that he expects, he's not going to put a timetable. He likes to use that word. I won't put a timetable on it. But he does expect Miles Sanders and Jason Kelce be ready for Washington coming out of the bye. That's great news. He did mention Brandon Brooks' name. He did not put a timetable at all. You might get Brandon Brooks back by Washington game as well, which would be great. So coming out of the bye, if we can have Kelce and Brooks back on the line and Miles Sanders still back there in the backfield, that'll be great. Very happy and surprised that Minshew Mania is at a minimum right now. So yeah, that's all I want to talk about the Eagles. We talk enough Eagles on this show. I do want to touch on last night's Monday Night Football game. Jeremy yesterday morning on Trending in the AM did say 17-10 Patriots would win that game. And I agreed with the low score. I thought the Bills would win that game. Patriots won 14-10. They take over top seat in the Eastern or the AFC East and the AFC Conference. But the thing I just want to talk about is how the Patriots ran the ball 46 times out of 49 plays. They threw the ball 3 times last night. Super terrible weather. It was snowing before the game, wind whipping like crazy yesterday. And I was watching some of the game after the Sixers game, and the Bills were putting 10 guys in the box to stop the Patriots, 10 guys in the box, and they were still running like crazy right over this defense of the Bills. I didn't think the Buffalo Bills defense was that bad. They're one of the lowest. They go into the last night. It's probably still the case. They'd given up the least amount of points in the NFL. So this defense is a really good defense, and yet they still couldn't stop the run. Literally every play, you knew every single play was going to be a run, and they were still getting 5, 7, 9-yard chunk plays on every single run. Damian Harris, before he got hurt, he hurt his hamstring last night, 10 carries for 111 yards. Ramondre Stevenson, 24 for 78. A little less per, carry, but still, Brandon Bolden even had 4 for 28. Nelson Aguilar, Eagles hero, one carry for 6 yards. I mean, they just kept running the ball. 2 for 3 for Mac Jones. It's insane. I've never seen an NFL game like that in recent memory. Buffalo, on the other hand, they did try to throw the ball a bunch, and you see 15 of 30 for Josh Allen, 145 yards. He did have the one touchdown to Gabriel Davis, but it just goes to show, and I said this on yesterday's show, how bad the Bills' rushing attack is and has been for such a long time. And you see it again last night. They don't know what they're doing. They got Josh Allen's their best running back, as Jeremy said yesterday. Devin Singletary, 10 rushes. Zach Moss, 8. Matt Breida getting touches in the backfield. They just don't know what they're doing. Whether that's blocking issues, whether it's just bad running backs, I'm not really sure. But it's really sad, really pathetic, bad performance. So that's that. So crazy, short episode of Trending in the AM. Sorry, I had a whole planned out show today. Guest didn't show up. So, that stuff happens. It's all good. I'll be back tomorrow morning. I have guests lined up for Wednesday and Thursday. Going to figure out, maybe have Drew on Friday. We'll see. If not, I'll figure somebody else out for Friday because going solo on a morning show, it's not easy to do. If Twitter was back to working and I had your Twitter comments coming through the thing here, it'd be much better. But I'm not a solo host. I can't do solo. I could do the 10-minute halftime show, and that's about it solo. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate everybody checking in on the show. It is what it is. I'll be back tomorrow with Trending in the AM, 8:30 a.m. Hopefully it's better than this one. Hopefully I didn't lose all my followers today. Hopefully everybody didn't, lose interest in this morning. Oh, we got somebody popping in here. Drew, I appreciate you popping in, Drew. But it's all right, buddy.
I'm gonna try my best to do this while I'm walking and multitask, but
No, dude, you don't have to. What do you if you want to give me your thoughts on the Flyers and that situation? You're more than welcome to.
it's gonna probably be a complete rebuild. It's coming. It's got to. Yeah, they lost 8 straight games, and the games that they lost, they play horrible in. It was like a team that really gave it up already, and we're in the beginning of the season. So, like, what's the culture gonna be after before even we identify this guy? They're gonna
Right.
keep losing. So you got moves that have to be made. I think it's time to get rid of Claude Giroux. It's time to trade him. He's not the same player anymore. He's not the consistent goal scorer. And y'all got to start fresh. You got to get a goal scorer.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a really long time since the Flyers have had a true goal scorer. So I agree with you. I think it's time to blow it up. It's not just trade Claude Giroux. It's trade Claude Giroux, Couturier, anybody of value, and start rebuilding the franchise. Everybody's talking about bringing in Rick Tocchet or Tortorella or Tortorella. I don't think it matters who you bring in at this point because this whole team needs to be stripped down and rebuilt from the bottom up. And the coaching at that point doesn't really matter. You got to go out and get a young coach that can help groom players as you start to flip this franchise around.
I think the only guy that should be untouchable is Carter Hart.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Carter Hart's still young enough. You definitely do. But you also don't want to stunt his growth by, continuing to put out this bad product every single week. So just it's different if you're rebuilding. Just go ahead and rebuild and bring it back around.
Yeah, and like on the Sixers and everything, I'll be honest, I said as the name you look out for is Paul George because of the defense, good 3-point shooter, consistent scorer. You can put him as a forward and everything. And you can still have Maxey and Seth as your guards, but I think it's going to take maybe another piece from the Clippers to make this deal complete. Maybe a first-round pick also, but we might have to also give up somebody in the. Maybe the most likelihood is giving maybe an Isaiah Joe, something up for him with Ben Simmons. But
yeah,
another team would be Denver. Michael Porter Jr. is always out there.
Yeah, he's
maybe
injured again for the year, I believe.
Like there's so many things.
Yeah, there are things. Everybody was jumping all over the CJ McCollum rumors yesterday, and not to take anything away from it. I do like a CJ McCollum for Ben Simmons trade. Problem is he does not fit now, CJ McCollum, on this team. Because like I said, what are you doing? Are you going to have Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry, and CJ McCollum on the floor at the same time? Offensively, that would be great. But defensively, you can't have 3 guys all under 6'4", on the court at the same time.
Now you had a mismatch all the way.
Where you can run out 5 guys all under 6'3". This is the NBA. You need some bodies for defense.
Like, I'll be honest, I think the best team right now for the Sixers to make a move with is Sacramento. Get the Aaron Fox or Buddy Hield, or even add one of those two with Harrison Barnes in the deal, and a pick, or get 2 players with Buddy Hield or De'Aaron Fox because they have the most upside. If you look at it, a Kings trade will bring in the most upside because you have offensive power and you have shooting power too because Buddy Hield's a terrific 3-point shooter. Mm-hmm. De'Aaron Fox is that guy that was averaging 25 points a game last year. He's on his way to probably averaging even more this year, and he's the complete point guard. But he's more of a scorer now. But I believe that'd probably be the best move for them is to trade with Sacramento. Yeah. Or maybe Toronto.
I brought up the Toronto trade last week. OG, Goran Dragic, a couple guys, Fred VanVleet, 2 or 3 guys from Toronto for Ben Simmons. That's still my number 1 target. You're also going to have the Pacers. The Pacers have always been linked to Ben Simmons as well, with Brogdon and Sabonis and LeVert as names that can come back. So there are options out there. I just think that I was watching a lot of the game last night, and this team is just, let's be honest, not good. Until they're just not good enough at this point. If you're struggling against the Charlotte Hornets team, missing Rozier, missing Ball, missing literally 5 guys to protocols, there needs to be a move made soon because you're going to waste the season. And as the team stands right now, they're just not a good enough team. They're just not. So a move. Somebody came at me yesterday. Don't make a trade for CJ McCollum. Wait 4 years if you have to. You can't wait 4. And he was dead serious in saying, if it takes 4 years to move Ben Simmons, it takes 4 years. You can't do that. You need to maximize Joel Embiid's prime right now. So Morey's got to be making the move now, not later. So it's just a matter of finding the right move.
You're in win now mode. You can't wait for him. And plus Joel Embiid's injury history and everything, you don't really know how long you're going to have him for.
Right.
So I really, if you're going to explore that Toronto move for like Dragic, OG, and everything, one player that I would love to be involved is Pascal Siakam.
Yeah, it's that's probably the move that won't happen though. They're probably not going to be willing to give up on him at this point.
Yeah, probably not. But that's the move I would want to put in there, is to potentially have Pascal Siakam involved in it, because I'll be like Tobias. I'm gonna be honest. Like, this team, the COVID's really killed this team. This team was on a roll before the COVID hit him, and I think they're still coming back from it. That's why they're struggling, because nobody knows the long-term effects. But Embiid, he's coming back well. He had 2 40-plus point games already, and I think Tobias, he's been average since he came back. And then he's missed a couple more games and everything.
We've seen that in all sports in the last year or so. When somebody comes back, it takes a long time, because it just does so much to your lungs and so much to your breathing and all. So you do have to be patient with that. And Joel said that after the game yesterday, that he's nowhere near 100%, nowhere near it. So that is obvious an issue there. But still, health and safety protocols and whatever they are, you still shouldn't have struggled to beat the Hornets last night, and they did. So that's still an issue. It doesn't matter how they're beat up or how they're feeling. This team, even at 85%, should have had no problem beating a Hornets team that's at 50%. So,
I look at it like this:
giving up 35 points to Kelly Oubre Jr. You just can't.
Well, you got Oubre Jr. playing, and you also got Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward can always light it up at every given moment.
But he didn't last night. He was 5 of 19 yesterday shooting, so it's not like he lit it up. So it is what it is. Hey, I was going to wrap this show up early. I know you got to finish walking there and all. So I appreciate you jumping on and giving me a couple of your points here. So I appreciate your time.
No problem. I'm going to try to make some time this week to come on.
Yeah, well, we'll talk off the air, buddy. You have a good day, all right?
You too.
All right. That was my boy Drew there, checking in while he was out walking his dog there. That was appreciated of him. Hey, bought 10 more minutes on the show, get somebody else's opinion. And obviously, instantly, having somebody there with me, the show got better instantly, because going solo is just not my thing. Anyway, as I was wrapping this up, this is Trending the AM. Unfortunately, show kind of took a little curveball today, going solo this morning. I got Jason Voorhees tomorrow and Thursday joining me. We're going to dive much deeper into the Flyers talk. Unfortunately, it's hard for me to talk Flyers because, honestly, out of the 5 teams in the Philadelphia area, they're the one that I follow the least, which is weird because I've probably been to more Flyers games than anything other than it's Phillies Flyers, most games I've been to in my life. So it's weird that I can't talk about them. It's just not my specialty. But I'll be back tomorrow morning with Jason. We'll dive much deeper into the Flyers situation. Also, stay tapped into DSM Media. Lots going on. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. Make sure you click subscribe on YouTube. Road to 500. Mark this down. Tuesday, next week, my birthday. I put it out there yesterday, and I'm going to keep promoting it all week. If we get to 500 subscribers by next Tuesday, this luscious beard, I'm going to cut it off. First time in 15 years, I'll cut it off. So make sure you tell everybody to subscribe to DSM Media on YouTube. All it does is it takes one moment. Click that button, subscribe. Much appreciated if you do. Again, Trending in the AM and all shows on DSM Media brought to you by Manscaped, the leader in men's grooming products, the GOAT and below the waist maintenance. Make sure you use the word trending at checkout. Get you 20% off and free shipping. Let them know that the beard here, if for now the beard, sent you. So make sure you check them out. So recapping today's show. Flyers, fire their head coach. Changes are coming. What kind of changes? That is the question. Sixers win yesterday against the Hornets, but barely and in overtime. What's the problem? Does CJ McCollum make this team better or not? That's a question that we're going to continue to be debating. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Beard of Knowledge. That's where you can interact with me on a daily basis on all these topics. Patriots win the game last night on Monday Night Football, almost exactly how Jeremy called it, passing the ball a mere 3 times last night. And that's all I got today. Thank you for your time. Make sure you're following, subscribing, doing all those things I just said. Everybody have a great Tuesday. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m., with a much better planned out show. So everybody have a great day. I'll talk to you later.